Autism Acceptance Month got its start as Autism Awareness Week all the way back in 1972, in a time when autism was practically unheard of outside of the medical field. It was created by the Autistic Society as part of their efforts to educate the public about autism and how to support autistic people. Efforts started in the 2010s to change the name and focus of Autism Acceptance Month. These efforts were spearheaded by the charity Autistic Self Advocacy Network, the most prominent autism charity that is run by autistic people for autistic people. The name was formally adopted by the Autistic Society in 2021, but there are still a lot of people who use the former name Autism Awareness Month, specifically the charity Autism Speaks, which is the largest autism charity in the world and considered a hate group by many autistic adults. It shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who knows autistic people that the meaning of words is very important to them. This is a nearly universal experience across the spectrum. So with that in mind, it's easy to see why those who are autistic are pushing for a change not only to the name of the month, but also the focus of what the month is about. To be able to properly dive into this topic, the best place to start is the definition of the two words. Awareness. Knowledge or perception of the situation or fact. Acceptance. The process or fact of being received as adequate, valid, or suitable. The focus of autism awareness is getting the word out about autism, making sure that the world knows about it and that they know how to support autistic people, while being made aware of the difficulties that they encounter. While efforts are still needed in the area of supports and difficulties, the main focus, the awareness, is considered by many autistic adults in the Western world to be done. Thanks to increased rates of diagnosis of autism, much of the Western world, especially the United States, knows that autism exists. Autism acceptance is seen by many as the next logical step after awareness. People know that autism exists, and now it's time for acceptance. Autism acceptance is about viewing autistic people as equals and giving them equal treatment. It's about closing the gap in employment and creating a world where they can thrive by making accommodations the same as we would for someone in a wheelchair, or changing the laws around marriage to allow for same-sex marriages. Autism Acceptance Month is sometimes called Autistic Pride Month, for its similarities with LGBTQ+ Pride Month. There is also an Autism Pride Day on June 18th. The distinction between autism acceptance and autism awareness is an important one, and I completely agree that awareness isn't enough. Awareness is very passive. All it requires from people day to day is to know that autism exists. Acceptance, however, is much more active. It requires action to be taken to help better the world for autistic people. I don't think the job of awareness is done yet. There are still many parts of the world where autism isn't very well known and diagnosis virtually never happens. One such place is Japan, somewhere that my autistic husband and I would love to travel to, but fear that a lack of autism awareness will mean that we have difficulty finding food. He and I both have long lists of food aversions, and Japan isn't somewhere that welcomes customizations when it comes to food from restaurants. They aren't receptive to substitutions or asking for something that should be included to not be there. We don't really want to go to Japan and only eat at KFC because it's the only place we know is safe. While autism awareness is increasing in Japan, it's mostly with younger generations. Quite simply, more work is needed there and across the world. I welcome the move to autism acceptance, and while I sometimes use both terms in the content I create, this is more about the SEO than it is my own personal views. In fact, when I use autism awareness, I always explain why I've done so. It isn't something I would do in conversation, it's purely to appease the almighty algorithm. Perhaps one day I'll be able to stop using autism awareness, but that is not this year. Autism acceptance simply isn't widely known enough yet. But make no mistake, I am advocating for acceptance in every piece of media I produce. This article originally featured in the Neurodivergent Adult newsletter, which you can find linked down below. It's a free weekly newsletter delivered to your inbox that discusses topics that are important to neurodivergent adults and the people around them. I hope you enjoyed this. I look forward to making more. Thanks for listening.